Now listen, I don't think you're taking the threat of the Tyranids seriously.
Oh?
Yeah, they are a galaxy-spanning threat. And with the way the Octarius War is going, we might be seeing an enormous hive fleet gorged on orc biomass heading straight for Holy Terror.
Oh, you know what? That's a fair point. That will be a very big problem. But I still think a lot of the Tyranid success comes from the various races of the galaxy not responding to their capabilities and limitations properly.
I don't think the stuff you said about them are real limitations.
Oh, you don't think so?
No!
Well, I appreciate you as a comrade and a friend, and I'll value your input as we discuss this topic further. But know that if I disagree with you, I'll do so while respecting your intelligence and thought process.
Oh, well thank you. I appreciate you too. Okay, so let's start with what you said about the synapse creatures. First of all, there are a lot of them, and you'd need to be able to kill all of them for the Tyranids to lose unit cohesion. Plus, with the synapse creatures, the Tyranids are able to perfectly coordinate their attacks, striking and disengaging as one.
Well, I won't deny that their ability to perfectly coordinate attacks on a planetary scale and beyond is a very big advantage. So you have a point there.
Oh, why, thank you.
But the synapse creatures are still very large, and it's difficult for them to make adequate use of cover. Even though some of them are very tough to be destroyed by conventional arms, coordinated heavy weapons fire on them isn't too difficult, especially when they're fighting in a big open field, advancing on entrenched positions like they are right now. It is a disadvantage to essentially have your commanding officers this close to the fight though, and each one of them that is destroyed does indeed degrade the combat effectiveness of their units.
Oh, right, but you still have units that don't depend on synapse creatures to operate. You know, like the lictors or the gene stealers.
Oh, sure. And those can be some nasty buggers in a forest or a jungle. You know, an area with lots of cover. But again, we're fighting in an open field, and their chances to advance on us and infiltrate our lines without being spotted is unlikely.
Oh, but what about Tyranids and their ability to burrow?
Well, that's why you tend to make your fortifications out of rockcrete. But even in the cases where we're relying on earthworks, you know, we still have sappers, we still have mines. It's not a perfect method, but we have countermeasures.
Well, I still think you're underestimating how tough some of these bioforms are. I mean, imagine if a hive tyrant showed up on the battlefield right now.
Oh yes, that thing can do some very serious damage. But it's also 3 stories tall. It is a massive target.
Yes, but as you said, it's hard to kill.
Look, we have ships that launch torpedoes that are 13 stories tall. We have the firepower to annihilate all life on a planetary scale if we need to. So, if we know where that thing is, we could kill it. And seeing as it's the size of a building, we probably know where it is.
Well, what about the swarm tactic? I still think you underestimate the power of numbers.
Oh yeah. Numbers can be devastating. Just not over an open field while advancing on entrenched positions like I told you.
Yeah, but how long can we keep this up? There are so many, we're likely to run out of ammunition before we can kill them all, and then they will overrun our position.
Run out of ammunition? What are you holding in your hand right there?
A triplex pattern lasgun.
And how many shots can you fire from it?
Well, it depends on whether I have it on full power. It can be.
Let's assume it's on a normal setting. How many can you fire on average with a full pack?
1,000 shots.
And is it easy to recharge a triplex pattern lasgun battery charge pack, the most common weapon in the Imperium?
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy. If you need to, you can even throw it on a campfire and recharge it in the most dire of circumstances.
Lives are cheap in the Imperium, but ammunition is even cheaper. Throwing bodies at us until we literally run out of ammunition is a mad waste of resources, even if the Tyranids have uncounted trillions. Now, if they have the numbers to simply overrun our positions because we can't put enough fire down range, that's one thing. But literally waiting until we're out of ammo is daft. I don't care how many creepy crawlies we're fighting, it's still an inefficient use of resources. The one other scenario where I think it might be effective is if they're attacking really green troops who might run instead of trying to defend their positions. So I could see that being a proper mess.
Oh, fair enough, but what about the flying units? You said they couldn't move that fast flapping their wings, but I've heard they can travel at supersonic speeds.
Do I need to explain to you the basic physics of flying? You simply cannot achieve that kind of speed with flapping wings.
Maybe they can go that fast because of psychic phenomena.
I mean, anything in this galaxy can be explained by a psychic did it, but it seems like a funny way to use psychic powers. If you can profoundly alter physics with psychic powers for millions of units, well, let's just say I can think of better military applications than making gargoyles fly at Mach 3.
Speaking of psychers, that's another thing. Why haven't you talked about the Tyranids with psychic abilities? How are we supposed to beat that?
Well, non-psychers don't really have too many options when it comes to effectively fighting psychers. So, I don't know, maybe a named librarian from a popular Space Marine chapter might be able to swing it.
Yeah, but there's the shadow in the wall. Tyranids completely eliminate access to psychic powers. Their very presence breaks the mind of psychers.
Yeah, well, that just sounds like cheating. Also, I don't think that's entirely true, given that the massive Hive fleet at Bale was consumed by a warp storm. I don't think the Tyranids' ability to shut down access to psychic nonsense is as complete as they say it is. But what do I know? I'm just a guardsman.
Hey, wait, yeah, you are just a guardsman. How do you know all this stuff?
I read the book once.
Some book. So, you've at least conceded that the Tyranids are indeed a grave threat. Why were you so cavalier earlier then? You made the Tyranids sound like there was some kind of joke.
Well, that was because I was making a joke. Yeah, that was what I was doing. I was telling a joke. It's a thing soldiers do sometimes. It's a coping mechanism to weather the mental stress of fighting endless waves of horrifying monsters from beyond the stars.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I took that rather seriously.
Oh, no harm done. It led to a respectful exchange of ideas, and neither one of us became defensive or insinuated that the other one was stupid. But now you'll probably have to call in air support if we don't want to become protein slurry.